through the eyes of a child. On the arms of an angel, or whatever Dave Meltzer now goes into hypnotic trances where it takes him far, far away to a land that he only dreams of. Whenever he watches an AEW pay-per-view, and he sees different things than we do, Brian. So just to put a button on the AEW Dynasty pay-per-view, I understand you have the official star ratings that everybody clamors and craves to get from Uncle Dave for the AEW Dynasty pay-per-view, where they just went hours and hours and hours, and then followed it up with a cold TV match where they switched the world title in 2 minutes. But more on that in a moment. What are these fucking ratings? These stars, these...
And again, a lot of the listeners like hearing your take on this because you are one of the co-creators of the star rating system, and
oh, quit!
People like to hear what you think of the bastardization and I guess turning into a whore of the star rating system.
Well, oh my God, the whore of Babylon was Mother Teresa compared to what he's done here. But now, I was not even the originator of this. I was the instigator of the application of it to wrestling. But it was who was it that did the movie you star rated? Was it Leonard Maltin? That's the guidebook that I used to have. Well, up until the time that I got in the wrestling business and started traveling on the road. When I lived here at home, I had a copy of the TV Guide next to my TV and a copy of Leonard Maltin's, which I've still got around here somewhere, movie reviews. The big paperback books or whatever, a movie was coming on goddamn TV, you could see what Leonard had to say about it. But did he invent that?
When I was a kid, I thought Leonard Maltin was John Landis.
Well, they did look similar, but Leonard had him by a few years. But the point is, whoever did that invented this, and then I made a wise-ass comment that, you ought to do and here we go, but Dave...
There's nothing in your life or career
let me just, Norman and
the way you walk back from this.
It's just because now it's so ludicrous. Norman and I were 17 fucking years old, and now there are people in the business that are actively trying, instead of thinking about doing business, they're trying to get validation through multiple stars by a 65-year-old fellow like me, who I don't even give stars because I'm not 17.
Well, let's go to the reviews from Forever 17, the Wrestling Observer newsletter. Jim, from the pre-show, Alex Windsor defeated Marina Shafir 8 minutes 51 seconds, 3.25 stars.
Well, we didn't see it, so I'm not going to take the... I'm not going to just go into detail on why he's crazy for that, but I don't know about Marina Shafir having any kind of 3-and-something star match, but...
Alex Windsor's not bad, though, but we'll talk about that another time. Camille defeated Big Ann. 1 minute and 22 seconds. No star rating for this. Jack Perry defeated Mark Davis. 8 minutes and 28 seconds. 3.5 stars.
So, oh, geez, I know you probably said this and I just blocked it out, but I'm just thinking of this small child with the Shirley Temple hairdo beating up Mark Davis and his big fat ass.
Tony's whole philosophy that I could bring guys in and anyone can beat them and it doesn't hurt them, which I don't agree with. But that idea, even if you did believe it, I would think it only works to a point, specifically a point of 6'1". Mark Davis is gigantic. I have not seen him win a match, and I think in every tag match I've seen him in, he's eaten the pin. So what the hell is that? He's gigantic.
Well, I mean, you can have, it doesn't matter about the size. You can have old Slim the Hillbilly from fucking Albuquerque or whatever we were talking about. Well, I mean, he was 6'3" and 320 pounds with his big flabby fucking gut that he couldn't work a lick and he could barely flap his arms. But Mark Davis, again, was was halfway credible. And they were going to push him in a top team, and his partner gets hurt, so they just keep beating him as a single. And why do you have to have that fucking match if you don't want Jungle Jack to do the job for Mark Davis? Don't book the fucking match. You got 150 fucking wrestlers. I'm sorry, I'm bogging us down.
No, that's fine. Jack Perry retained the national title, and then finally in the pre-show, Megan Bain and Lena Cross retained their tag team titles against Maya World and Hyan. And that was 2.5 stars.
Well, now, wait a minute. Is that... Because now, are they the World Sisters? Because I've seen it written, Hyan and Maya World. So that...
Oh, no, that's not what it says here. It says Maya World and Hyan. So I don't know if they're sisters. I don't think they are.
Oh, see, I thought they were the World Sisters because I saw it the other way around once.
They are the
but
stupid
it's Maya
game
World
sisters.
and Maya World and welcome to it.
Jim, let's get to the main card. Oh, go ahead.
Yes, that's where I was. Where is the main card starting? Anytime now?
The Young Bucks defeated Konosuke Takeshita and Kazuchika Okada. 20 minutes, 10 seconds, 5-star match. Ricochet. Oh, go ahead.
Wait a minute. Hold on. You'd think that he'd just pull back on it just a little bit just because of the criticism he gets and the people obviously going, what the fuck with this over and over with these guys? And you'd think he'd pull back just a little bit. Every one of their matches can't be the best match that's ever been held. And again, I'm not saying anything bad about poor old Take-A-Shit besides the fact that he's been floundering in mid-cardity and don't know what the fuck he's making funny faces at Okada for. But is he still trying to support Okada as being... when people are seeing it now, he's lazy. He's broken down. There's no physical charisma to him. He has no motivation. He does the absolute least he can do. And he looks like fucking just some schlub off the street. How is this a 5-star match? Because in his mind, he's still the ex before she gained all the weight and fucking got pissy with him and ran off with the fucking plumber or whatever.
I can't tell you. Dave does a move-by-move breakdown, but he starts off by saying, the Young Bucks after the match called this bout a career highlight. All 4 used their regular moves, but there was a lot of new creative stuff in there. This was also the best babyface reaction the Young Bucks have gotten anywhere in several years. Wow. At least he admits that. It was just an incredible performance. Other than the referee standing there not doing anything, no DQ, fucking tornado rules. Give me a break.
And again, just there's nobody in the business that is consistently more choreographed or just looking like children playing in the yard than the Buckaroos. And he can't get over it. All right, moving on.
Ricochet defeated Chris Jericho. 19 minutes, 11 seconds. I didn't realize it went that long. Wow. 3 3/4 stars.
Actually, that's a tribute to Jericho that we didn't really realize it went that long. Because remember, I said he didn't do anything he had to do either, or didn't have to do either, but he covered it well and let the other guy provide a lot of movement. It was smart. I agree with that. I would say 3.5, but if we're arguing 1/4 star, Brian, then we're not really arguing, are we?
That's right. I would say that was at times a spot show match where Jericho got the most out of the least and the fans ate it up.
And that used to be half of the goddamn matches that got rated were exactly that kind of match.
Jim Darby Allin defeated Andrade in a #1 contenders match for the world title. Well, a #1 contender for the world championship. 16 minutes, 32 seconds. 4.5 stars. I know you didn't watch this. forgot to mention something to you, and I saw other people mention it too. For whatever reason, after the match, Andrade and Darby shook hands, I guess because of the competitive nature. Andrade had an erection.
What?
Andrade standing there with a fucking chubby while he's shaking Darby's hand. But Dave didn't write anything about it. Obviously, Dave didn't notice. But
Hey, Dave, my eyes are up here. After taking bumps and being blowed up after going 20 minutes with that little human ping pong ball, that's admirable, I guess, on his part. Yeah, how many? Well, we'll give a couple of stars credit for that, so I'll agree with that one.
4.5 stars and 3.5 inches. Jim, FTR retained the tag titles over Adam Copeland and Christian in 21 minutes 7 seconds. 4.5 stars.
Okay. Again, it's still excessive, but he's on the normal scale, but he's expanded the scale to the point where until they just went too far and did too much, as you'll remember we spoke about, it was still, there was no furniture, there was no bullshit. On the normal scale, that would be a 3.5 star match. It wasn't the blowout of all time, but on his scale, that's probably one of the more legitimate numbers he'd give.
Jim, Kevin Knight won the Casino Gauntlet match for the TNT title over Tommaso Ciampa, Roosh, Bandito, Speedball Mike Bailey, El Clan, Pac, Daniel Garcia, Anthony Bowens, and Wheeler Yuta. 22 minutes 35 seconds, 4.5 stars.
Of course it was.
If you don't go 20 minutes and get at least 4 stars or above, then you should just quit and go to NXT. That's what I say.
Well, and actually, I think he ought to start giving it. If the match has 6 people in it, they ought to at least give 1 star each, so it becomes a 6-star match, and then go from there. Now, if they do better than that, maybe he could do 7.5.
Would Dave honor it if one of the AEW wrestlers had a stipulation for a big match? Like, let's say Kenny Omega versus Will Ospreay. The stipulation is, can't be less than 6.5 stars. Would Dave honor that and use that as the basis to start the star rating?
Now, wait a minute. Now, what are you saying? Help me out here. I lost you around the far turn. Are you, if you wanted to make it a stipulation, then you'd have to have them come out there and say, Kenny, and say, if this isn't a 6-star match, I will leave AEW forever, or something like that. And then they'd have the match, and then they'd have Dave in a plexiglass box at ringside, tabulate with one of the, like Matt Brock in the old After magazines with the visor on in front of a fucking typewriter, tabulating, and he's got an adding machine with the paper coming out, and then he presses the button and it shows up 6.5 stars. Kenny can stay. Kenny can stay. And then Meltzer keels over of a heart attack from all the excitement. Boom. And they can't get into plexiglass. They're trying to get the crowbar to pry him out to get the resuscitating paddles.
This went from fantasy booking to snuff film booking. Let's get back to the star ratings here, Jim. Tekla retained the AEW Women's title over Jamie Hayter, 16 minutes 31 seconds, 3 3/4 stars.
So just almost as good as most of the stuff Kurt Angle used to do. Okay.
I mean, they didn't even get 20 minutes. It really shows you what Tony thinks of the women's division.
Yeah, he should have given them at least 30 because they've got a song they got to sing.
Jim, John Moxley sang his song, defeating Will Ospreay to retain the Continental title in 18 minutes 13 seconds, 4 3/4 stars.
Oh, good Lord. Besides the rotten booking and the idea that they would beat poor Mr. Ostrich, who is apparently sticking his head in the sand over this whole thing. And nah, bro. Nah.
Jim, Roderick Strong, Orange Cassidy, and Kyle O'Reilly won the AEW Trios titles over Clark Connors, Gabe Kidd and David Finlay, 9 minutes 58 seconds, 3-star match.
Well, yeah, he had to deduct at least 1.5 stars because one of the fucking guys didn't make it all the way through the 10-minute match before they were carried out and put in an ambulance. So that deducts 1 star.
If it's a 6-man match and it ends as 5 men, you got to take 1 star off.
Yeah, you got to take 1 star off anytime they lose a competitor in the middle of the match.
Finally, Jim, MJF defeated Kenny Omega to retain the AEW World Championship. 38 minutes, 55 seconds, 4 3/4 stars.
Oh, boy.
So the only ones to get 5 stars were the Young Bucks.
But just right underneath it was the ridiculous match where Tony shit the bed on his top English babyface 3 months or whatever before a stadium show that's going to have a arena crowd. And then the main event that proved that pretty much nothing in wrestling can hurt anybody is bad enough to put them down for 5 seconds.
And that was the current AEW Dynasty 2026.